Yeah, and that's part of the problem that I have seen this, this duality, if you will, about how Biden conducts business, and everyone says it's like a slip of the tongue, and then he'll say one thing that'll mean something completely different. The truth is, we do live in a corporate oligarchy, the United Corporations of America, which you can see over Jordan's left shoulder. It's not a joke. I mean, I know it's done in jest, but the truth is that, Citi, Visa, McDonald's, Pfizer. Listen, this is a story about McDonald's that just came out with the shit that they're doing when it comes to union busting, which is absolutely insane. This is the country we live in. And those that look around, it's like somebody who thinks that somebody like Trump is more powerful and influential than somebody like Bill Gates. That is not how this works, people. And there are people that are behind the scenes in the shadows that you can't even see, that you don't even know are there, that have, especially people in the Zionist movement, that as soon as they heard what Joe said the other day, we're like, okay, well, that $100 million you thought you were getting for the campaign, unless you change that tune, that money's going to either go to Trump, it's going to go to RFK, whatever they're going to do. And that's the downside of the realities of what we're living in right now. We are going to play a quick clip because this is what the president said the other day, and we all know he's going to backtrack on it because he's backtracking already. It didn't take long. I didn't think it would.
I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone into Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities, to deal with that problem.
They're in Rafah already. So what is this bullshit about they haven't gone into what? You mean they haven't done a ground invasion? No, they're just raining hell from above, but they haven't really gone in just yet. They're only killing innocent babies and stuff, but we can accept that collateral damage. At least that's what it sounds like from where I'm standing.
I think there's an important note that I haven't really heard discussed in this. I mean, perhaps I missed it on Twitter and someone said this. That's more of our political thinking. Why are you not? What basically what he's saying is that I will not fund the weapons now if they go into Rafah, because if they go into Rafah, potentially hundreds of thousands of Palestinians could be killed.
But I think that's going to happen.
But my point is, by saying that, he's basically saying it was acceptable for us for tens of thousands of Palestinians to die, but with our weapons. But our red line is if hundreds of thousands of Palestinians die. That to me is what he's saying, because why would you pull weapons now, but you wouldn't pull weapons then? Well, by default, they made the calculus that we're willing to accept Israel slaughtering tens of thousands of Palestinians. That was in their view, the acceptable collateral damage, which is of course morally disgusting and reprehensible. But now I'm going to say this is my red line because the numbers can go up. Well, I don't know. I've never served, but I know of militaries not willing to take an action if 4 or 5 innocent people would be killed. Certain militaries wouldn't do it. Clearly, they were willing, and by they, I mean Israel and America, because it's one and the same. They were willing if 200 people die, if they bomb a refugee camp, which has happened. They were willing if, in 1 month, 10,000 people die. They were willing, and we're not just talking people. The majority of people who have died are women and children. Yeah. Not to minimize, men dying. Death is death, but we're talking women and children. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's reprehensible. And you know what? Maybe this is controversial with some. I don't think it should be. I think the world felt for Israel on October 7th. I mean, death is death. Innocent people were killed on October 7th. And Biden and Netanyahu quickly let that evaporate, because I was taught, Peter, I don't know about you, 2 wrongs do not make a right. So you cannot say, well, we're defending ourselves, so we're going to go, kill tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians in order to defend us. It's not defense. Anyone with a brain knows that. And as I said, I got in an argument once when I was at the Young Turks. I was in LA visiting, and I was on a panel with Jank and Michael Tracy and a few other people. And we were, I don't remember what specifically was, maybe Syria. And we were arguing about, our
with Cenk.
involvement, our
With Cenk.
involvement in
I
Syria,
remember. I remember.
our involvement in Syria, and I said, you can't eradicate an idea. What is this like erase? The war on terrorism. You cannot get rid of hatred for America. So you have to start looking into why do they hate America. I'm not defending whatsoever, to be clear, because I don't want my words to be twisted. I'm not whatsoever defending Osama bin Laden or Al Qaeda or anything like that. You can't. What I can say is you have to look at what were in his writings, what were in these people's memos, what was in their brains, and what were they preaching? What was the hate they were preaching, and what was it based on? Well, Osama bin Laden, one of the core reasons he stated he engineered 9/11 was because of Israel's occupation in Palestine.
Right.
That doesn't condone what he did at all, but I'm telling that was one of the bases, and that's why a lot of terror has happened. And by the way, if they want to talk about national security, Peter, it's May 9th, 2024.
Yeah.
What makes anyone think that in a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, there might not be an attempted attack or a successful attack on America for what we have helped Israel do?
How many innocent kids have to be slaughtered? How many more terrorist cells have been created as a result of the actions and are only going to get worse? We have to go in there and eradicate Hamas. You can't be done.
But you can't. But the bottom line is, for every quote unquote Hamas operative you're killing, you're probably creating 5 new ones.
It's a new Al Qaeda. It's a new ISIS. It doesn't matter. It will just return to something else.
And you and me are friends, so I've talked to you off camera about this. Listen, it's not a secret. My dad's a super Zionist. Both of my brothers went to a private Jewish school. I didn't. I love them, but this is like a core issue we just are on different planets about. For many years before this happened, I just didn't talk to my father about Israel because what was the point? I'm not going to change his mind. He's not going to change mine. So let's focus on the areas of agreement and love. But on this issue, I mean, it's been pretty rough between me and my family since October 7th. And I got in an argument with my mom about it. And I just said, like, Mom, let me ask you a question. Put aside Judaism, Muslim, anything. I grew up in Massapequa, New York, on Long Island. Mm-hmm. If Seaford, the town next to us, bombed Massapequa and nuked your house, and God forbid, all 3 of us, me and my 2 brothers, were killed, what would you do? She ended up, well, why did Seaford bomb us? Said, doesn't matter. The reason doesn't matter. What, as a human, not as a Jew, as a human, how would you react to that? And there was just a long silence because I think she got my point. Like, it is human nature and it doesn't matter what the context is. It doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong. If everything has been stripped of you, and you are going to want revenge, plain and simple.
No argument. Let's finish out the clip and we'll continue.
We're going to continue to make sure Israel is secure in terms of Iron Dome and their ability to respond to attacks like came out of the Middle East recently. But it's just wrong. We're not going to supply the weapons and the artillery shells used that have been used.
Artillery shells as well.
Yeah, artillery shells.
Yeah, that was a talking point, Joe. You said it. Honest to God, it's very cringy at this point to even listen to him speak anymore. I don't know what type of special cocktail they give him to get in front of the camera. We know when it fades, his eyes go very, very thin. And it's again, as I say, the fearless leader of this channel has said time and again, it's a form of elder abuse. Not that I have any sympathy for the president, I don't, but I do know that them trying to trot him out there at this point, I think it's just a reflection of how much things have completely fallen apart. The narrative that's fallen apart, this idea that the current economic and political structure of our country is salvageable in any capacity. It's not. It's like when I tell people, when Trump says that elections are rigged, he's doing it for self-serving purposes. He doesn't care about, whether or not we have an electoral system that is not on the level, which in many ways it isn't. Whether or not we have an economy that's on the level, it isn't. Whether we have a health system which is corrupt to the teeth. We have a foreign policy, which is dominate the world by any means necessary. I can't imagine anybody on the left who keeps their mouth shut about anything that's going on between in the Middle East or in Ukraine, who has anything to say about the environmental movement if you don't say two fucking words when it comes to the shit that we do around the world in terms of military domination. I mean, there is no point in waxing poetic or acting like you're doing anything positive. And I saw this happen in a chat the other day. I won't specify what it was, but I'll just say this. There is a circular firing squad on the political left. And it's just something where you get to a point in life where you realize either you're going to continue to participate in that bullshit or you're going to figure out a way to be productive outside of that, and that echo chamber, because it is very devastating to see it.